Hello, my lovely spiritual souls. I hope you're okay. And this is a requested unboxing kind of review of the new SPTV Divine Guidance Oracle card set, which has been sat on my altar for a couple of days. Just kind of acclimatizing. I always like to think that these decks go through a bit of an energetic journey to get here in the design and the kind of the idea, the design, the production, the logistics and transportation. So I always like to leave my decks, if at all possible, to acclimatize a little bit, just in my little room, in my sacred space. So I'm going to do an unboxing now. If you're lucky enough to have secured yourself one of these decks, as you can see, they're limited edition. They're produced by SPTV, available only on their website, not available anywhere else. So I'm just going to do a review of these for you. So first thing that I noticed, obviously, it's a nice sturdy box. This is going to withstand some kind of wear and tear and travels. What I personally would do if I decide to use this as a kind of a reading deck that I go out and about to appointments and spiritual fairs, that kind of thing, I would probably invest in a velvet bag or a pouch or something, just to keep it in, just to keep the box from getting kind of knocked about, or a tin or something like that to put them in. But it's very sturdy, it's going to withstand it. Just to note, this didn't actually come shrink wrapped in plastic. This is what you tend to find with these smaller indie decks, is that they don't come in that kind of mass produced plastic that you would get from other decks from other kind of larger suppliers or publishers. So let's give her an open up. Got our guidebook there. Fantastic. Let's read what the guidebook says, in fact. So Divine Guidance Oracle Pack, 78 cards. Okay. Meticulously grafted, designed by Spiritual Psychics TV, designed to illuminate your path, inspire your decisions, and awaken your intuition. The power of ancient archetypes, celestial guidance, and the essence of life itself provides you with a unique tool for self-discovery, clarity, and transformation. Fantastic. So the guidebook itself it's a color guidebook. Okay, so it's 1 page per card. That's amazing. Oh, in fact, that's a description of the back card. So it even goes down to the level of detail, really, of describing the artwork on the back of the card. As you can see, this is the back card stock here. So each of the cards has got a 1 page with a color rendition. That's really nice. Oh, unnamed cards. Oh, okay, right, I'm going to get into it. Okay, so let's start from the beginning. Let's do this properly. Start from the beginning. So it's got a little bit about standard copyright, places you can purchase it, getting started. So the idea for this, I think, is that you can kind of get cracking from the moment you receive it, that you don't have to go on any kind of big, long tarot oracle journey with it. But it looks like, so we've got majors and mine. Oh, you've got majors, right? There's no minors. So what this means is this is going to be an oracle deck, a guidance deck in its truest form. It's not a Rider-Waite-Smith convention. It's got the major arcana, and then after that, it doesn't have the minor arcana, all the different traditional suits. It will go then into some life guidance cards. So we'll get to those ones. What I do really like here, actually, is that there's some sample spreads here. So standard in your little white books that you get with most decks is that you will get a 1 card spread, a 3 card spread, and then something like a Celtic cross or something like that. It's a bit more in depth, unless the author and designer has come up with something specific. But what I quite like about these ones is that you've got some different spreads here. So pretty much straight out of the box, you can just get cracking and start using these to read with, which is really nice. Yeah. So major arcana, angels, which is really nice. I know a lot of people are into angels. Elements, which is really nice. The life cards, which, as I said, these look like the minors. This is the kind of ebb and flow of life cards that would normally kind of be flowing through the suits. Nice. Okay, right, I'm going to put that to one side and have a look at these cards. Let's get them out of the box. So first things first, that design that was mentioned in the book is absolutely gorgeous, very celestial, very angelic. Obviously, these are some kind of enhanced digital art. So they will be based on an original design and then use some digital enhancement. Just for people, everyone's got their own preference on them. Some people love them. Some people prefer to have original hand-drawn art. It's just as a preference for anyone who's reading it. Really beautiful. One thing to, if you are someone who's into reversals and reversals is your thing, obviously these aren't going to give you an anonymous reversal when you're doing a card reading with somebody. If that's something, again, that is a preference of yours, that you prefer to have a completely symmetrical card back, it's just one thing to bear in mind with this particular deck. So in terms of the card stock itself, it's a slightly plasticized card deck. I wouldn't say it's matte. I wouldn't say it's satin. I would say that this is it's a kind of got a slight frosted feel to it. So, and it's slightly plasticized. What that does mean is that they will withstand a lot of shuffling and bending, and they are quite robust and quite substantial feeling. I don't feel like they're going to tear, bend. They also, because they're slightly plasticized, aren't going to get that white edge, foxing and kind of bobbling that you sometimes get with decks that are just printed purely onto card. Some of the smaller indie decks, you sometimes get that. So that's quite nice. So let's just give them a little bit of shuffle and just see how, yeah, they're shuffling quite nicely. They shuffle nicely, I think, because they've got that slightly plasticized, slightly satin embossed feel. They've got a little bit of grip, but they do slide, which is nice. They're a good size to hold in the hand. Some smaller independent decks are quite large. They're quite difficult to shuffle. These ones I think are going to be quite straightforward. I like the fact they've got rounded edges on it. Little things like that impress me. So in terms of the card, they're all numbered, which makes it very easy. I know there's a real trend at the moment in Oracle deck world not to number them, but to kind of have the letters, and then you've got to go fishing through the book to try and find out what the meaning is. Because I do always, with these smaller ones, like to understand what the meaning is, because it's important. If the creator's gone to time and trouble to design these beautiful cards, actually, it's really nice to have their thoughts as to why this card was birthed, why it came into the world, why they felt it was really important to be included in the deck. So smaller decks that do deviate from the traditional Rider-Waite Smith, I always like to get a little bit of the interpretation from the designer. So with these ones, because they are numbered, for all of my kind of like trimmed card fam, for people who like doing that to their cards, you are going to have a little bit of difficulty. You could just about get away with it to trim it if you wanted to, but just to bear in mind, because there is a finish on these ones, I'm not sure how that is going to affect the deck. To be fair, there is no different coloured edges to it, so you've got no way of differentiating really, other than the card itself, between what are part of the majors, what are part of the life deck, which are the angels and all the other different elements that comprise this deck. Again, it's a preference. Some people like it, some people don't like it. It's just an observation, just giving my initial thoughts as I undo the deck. So yeah, shuffling really nicely. I think that they would work really nicely. Not getting any jumpers, but I think this deck needs to warm up a little bit, to be honest. I haven't worked with it yet. I haven't kind of got to know it, done a deck interview, done any of those things with cards, which I do like to do, because not every deck you buy is going to be a working deck. Some of the decks I buy are purely for myself, purely for whatever I need at that time. Sometimes I buy them because I just really love the beautiful artwork. I want to support the artist. And they're nice to have a little play around with and then kind of see what emerges. But I let the deck and the energy that's surrounding the deck and how it interacts with my energy tell me how this deck needs to be used. Some decks I'll keep, some decks I'll pass on. Some of them will just be kept for posterity because they're something special. They were created for a particular purpose, or they're sentimental value, or they've got some historical value, or they're limited editions. So not every deck is going to be a working deck, and that's okay. So let's see what this deck is going to say to us. Just warming up a little bit. And let's just pull a little card for us. Beautiful. Okay. Really nice. I'm just showing you this one. This was a little card. I'm not going to interpret it. I haven't got time today to go into the nuts and bolts of doing a collective reading for this one. But this is for you to interpret. So I'm going to just leave this on screen for a little while so you can just have a look at that one for yourself and just get a feel into the energy of it. It's really important when you are selecting a tarot card deck that you look at some of the things that matter to you. So whether that is the colours, the theme, the imagery, whether it is the the topics. Beautiful, really lovely. Very, very feminine energy to these ones, actually, which is really interesting. Very angelic. You can see almost all of the characters and archetypes that are coming in the cards all have wings of some description. Really beautiful. Oh, wow, that's gorgeous, isn't it? Really nice. Very nice. Nice representation in this deck as well, which is, again, something that matters to a lot of people, which is really important. Again, it's just something to observe. Wheel of Life is gorgeous, isn't it? Look at all the astrological symbols in there. So very, very beautiful. And the words actually don't go into a lot of detail, which I like that one. The words don't go into a lot of detail, which I like. Certainly if I'm working intuitively with a deck, sometimes just the pictures, which is why some people are fans of trimming off decks if they've got too much wordy on them. But these ones actually don't have a big ream of information on there. They literally just have the keyword. Well, that's the Fool. Isn't that a beautiful representation of the Fool? Yeah. So it's an interesting blend, this one. It's an interesting blend of the words and the energy of Rider-Waite-Smith using the majors. But actually some of the imagery is very different. Nice. What I really like is actually, just looking at that one, some of these cards are talking to some real 21st century archetypal, societal questions and things that we've got. The real transformational alchemy death card there. Really nice. Yeah. Yeah, interesting. The Strength card here deviates completely away from some of the encoded stuff in the Rider-Waite-Smith, so it's a different take on it. Look at that Hermit. Oh, amazing. He's got his wings as well. Love that. Love that. It's one of my favorite cards, that one. The Archangels are a nice addition, actually. They're a nice addition to have some angel representation in here. Really nice. Really nice. We got. I mean, the artwork is really beautiful. Really beautiful. Certainly feels like there is lots of guidance, lots of support in here. And it's always useful as well if there is, if you're interested in doing a little bit of study about some of the archangels, about some of the archetypes. If you're interested in learning a little bit more about alchemy, you could probably, isn't that a lovely tower? A very blissful and serene tower, not the tower imagery that you're used to seeing on most kind of traditional decks where you've got people kind of leaping out of buildings or lightning strikes or kind of things being destroyed. She's very serene in her tower moment, kind of the Wheel of Time above her. It's interesting, isn't it? Very interesting. It's just the interpretation. It would be down to you to kind of interpret how you. A very young looking emperor there. And the Hanged Man. Interesting. Not actually presenting in the traditional upside down way, but actually being suspended in the air. That's really interesting imagery to kind of play with. Really nice. This is one of those blank cards that we saw. So one of the blank cards. So blank cards, really interesting. I like it when they are included because you can deal them in or deal them out. If you don't want to have them, you don't have to have them in the deck. So you could take all of the blank cards out and set them to one side. And there's a couple of options of these, and you can read them different ways. So one way would be that you would go through, and in fact, I've got a Brian Froud Fairy Oracle deck, which I've had for donkey's years, which has got blank cards in there where you can put your own meaning to it and then write the meaning on, and then that becomes the meaning. So whenever you pull it, that is what it refers to. That's one way to do it. So you could decide what 77 represents. So you could go with the angel number, you could come up with your own meaning for that. Or you could leave it up to spirit, which would be a really nice idea for anyone who is developing mediumship or clairvoyance to actually designate some of these blank cards, especially 77 and the angel number, to say, this is my spirit communication card. So whenever this card comes up, this is for me to sit, pause, and allow spirit to come through and talk during readings. It's just a suggestion. There is no right or wrong way with these particular cards. It's just different ways of working with them. again, just as I'm flipping through this, just really, really beautiful imagery. Lots of whites, lots of golds, lots of flowers. Doesn't he look like the hermit from earlier? Isn't that really interesting, actually? He looks very much like the hermit card from earlier, and his lamp has gone from being a lamp that he holds to a lamp that he's holding for another small person. Isn't that really nice? I like that. Likewise, fire. She looks like the lady that I've just flipped over in Deception. That's quite interesting, isn't it? And again, the same kind of fiery colours. I'm loving this. You can see I'm getting into this already. This is another one of these blank cards. Totally different energy from 77. Again, you could kind of read into that an awful lot. Beautiful. Okay, I'm just going to continue flipping through these ones so you get a really good feel. High Priestess. Now, isn't that interesting? That the High Priestess in this kind of depiction isn't that serene, quiet, intuitive, hidden, reticent, keeping knowledge close to their chest, you know, within the two pillars. This is very much a kind of a warrior energy. That's very interesting. Interesting. Again, some of these cards here are relating to kind of very much more 21st century energy. So whereas maybe we'd look at pentacles or cups or kind of kings or any traditional court cards or Rider-Waite style cards, and then we would infer meaning that would mean business or prosperity or work or those kind of things. It's very explicitly put in some of these cards. Your other blank card there. Beautiful. Looks very elvish, doesn't it, with the blue sword? Gorgeous. The star depiction is really lovely. Likewise, temperance with her pouring her water. Really beautiful. I really do like how they've all got angel wings, actually. You start to not notice it after a while, but obviously the energy is still there. So you're not noticing the angel wings, but actually you're still. Oh, look at her abundance. Beautiful. Oh, isn't that interesting that the word says loss, but again, that is very similar to the hermit. But I do like the significant alchemical cross above her. I quite like that imagery. I'm looking forward to working with these. I'm really looking forward to setting some time aside to do some readings and just find out if this deck is going to be a working deck for me or whether this is going to be one that I kind of keep for teaching. Whether this is one that I kind of just keep for posterity to say, you know, this was a limited edition deck and the first of many evolutions. I can feel there'll be many more on the way, I should think. The world card's beautiful. The lovers is lovely, isn't it? Very literal description of the lovers. Very pretty. Archangels. Oh, the conflict card's interesting. Yeah, very warlike. So what I'm going to do is, one of the things I probably do is I will go through this deck. I'll resort it back into order again. And then I'll go through this deck card by card with the book. He's an interesting character, isn't he? Lovely, really beautiful. Mother Earth, Gaia. And then our element of air, our element of water. Beautiful. Archangel Metatron. Absolutely huge, beautiful wings, open hands to receive and send power. Oh, that divine guidance flowing into the top of the head. Very nice. And then the Destiny card, what a great one to finish on. So that's the deck flip through. Hopefully that was useful for anyone who is thinking about buying it. Yeah, put your comments in. This one was a requested one for me, so I thought I would do a deck review. I haven't done one for absolutely ages, and share it with you, and I will let you know how I get on with this deck. But yeah, go and have an explore. And thank you ever so much for being with me as I review this particular Oracle deck, and have fun. Thank you ever so much.